wool finishes. Much of the finishes for wool can be seen in our cotton section as well. Brushed wool. Just as we saw brushed cotton, we will see brushed wool. Brushed wool is a wool fabric, again, usually woven with a plain or twill weave, as they are strong enough to withstand the brushing process. This wool fabric has been passed through a machine where the rollers with bristles brush the fabric, just like with brushed cotton. The brushing finish pulls up small fibers and produces a fuzzy nap on the surface of the fabric. Typically, woolen yarns are the ones treated with a brushed finish, as they better allow for fibers to be raised up in the process, producing a thicker nap than with worsted wool yarns. When wool is brushed, a thicker, fuzzier nap can be achieved than when cotton is brushed. The nap on brushed wool is often so thick it obscures the weave pattern of the fabric completely. As you can see on the right, this is a piece of brushed wool. It is woven with a twill weave. However, the twill weave is almost indistinguishable because the fuzzy brushed nap is covering it. Only if you look very closely in a few small areas is the characteristic diagonal twill rib visible. Brushed wool varieties are very common among the coating wool fabric family. Shaved wool or sheared wool finish. Shaved or sheared wool is a finish that usually refers to a wool that has been brushed first to create a long, thick nap. That nap has then been cut down or shaved. The shaved finish leaves a thick, plush nap, but it is not as long and is a bit neater than brushed wool that has not been shaved. Fabric shavers are also sold to maintain fabrics, especially wool fabrics. These are small devices that shave away pills, excess nap, or trapped lint away from the surface of clothing that has been built up because of wear and tear over time. Wool is particularly susceptible to these types of, let's say, blemish. They're particularly susceptible to pilling, excess napping, or trapping lint because of the nature and fuzziness of their fibers. Although shaved and sheared finishes are most commonly found in wool fabrics, they can be applied to any fiber of fabric that can sustain a nap large enough to be cut down. Scouring and milling. Scouring and milling is a process given to wool fabric and sometimes wool fiber and garments that removes excess dirt and oil from the material. Without proper scouring and milling, wool fabric can feel greasy and start to smell bad. Fulling. Fulling is a process of adding heat and compaction to wool to make it smoother and denser. Fulling is also known as a felting process, but can be applied to wool fabrics other than felt. In the image on the right, we can see a swatch of fabric before and after a process of fulling. As you can see, the fabric on the right is slightly smaller and more dense than the one on the left. The fulling process can also help increase the dimensional stability of wool. Leather finishes. Patent leather. Patent leather refers to leather that has a high gloss finish applied to it. This makes the leather very shiny and almost mirror-like. It usually is found in black, white, and red colors, but really can be made in any color. In addition to the patent finish giving the leather a shiny gloss, it also makes the leather waterproof. The patent leather finish was originally developed for real leather, but is most often seen today in synthetic alternatives. We can see patent leather most often used in shoes and belts, but can be made into any number of different items and garments. Embossed leather. Like any other embossed fabric, embossed leather is made by passing hot engraved rollers over the leather to stamp in a patterned texture. Many times, this method is used to make cow's leather look like the leather from another, more exotic animal. This is seen in the top image, where cow's leather has been embossed to look like crocodile leather. However, it can also be used simply to make whatever pattern we desire in the leather. That is seen with the floral embossing on the bottom image. Burned leather. Leather won't burn easily, as we learned in our leather section. But instead of catching fire, it will develop a black charring if exposed to high heat. This allows artists to burn in beautiful designs straight onto leather. By hand, this technique is done by using a soldering iron or other tool whose point becomes very hot. The markings are then burned into the leather. This process by hand can be seen in the bottom picture. This process can be achieved with hot metal stamps as well, in a process similar to branding. Polished leather. Polishing is a leather finish applied once an item has been made out of leather. It involves the rubbing of a leather polish into the leather fabric. Leather polishes can come in many forms with varying ingredients. However, all leather polishes aim to improve the shine, softness, water resistance, color, and smell of the leather. As we can see here on the right, there are two very different types of leather polish. This one here is a commercially sold leather polish meant to clean and condition leather furniture. It is made of mostly synthetic ingredients. The leather polish down here is made of beeswax and carnauba oil. Leather items are often polished in their finishing stage, but much like cotton starching, this finish must be repeated by the consumer as part of regular maintenance of the leather good. All leather products need a bit of polishing once in a while to maintain their properties. The upper right-hand picture shows an old-fashioned shoe shine station that were once common on the streets of New York and other cities. People would go and sit up on these high chairs to have their shoes polished by a professional. Polishing is often accompanied by the processes called oiling or waxing. These involve rubbing oils or wax into leather to prevent it from drying out and cracking. Preventing the drying out of leather, again, is one of the many reasons we must polish our leather goods from time to time. Burnished leather. Burnished leather is an intensive type of polishing which involves rubbing leather for a long time with a smooth surface. It can also include rubbing different substances like wax, water, or gum tragacanth into the leather. Gum tragacanth is a type of vegetable gum. Burnished leather has an enhanced shine and a well-polished look. This process helps to soften the edges in the leather seams of an item. It also helps improve the water-resistant properties of leather and gives it a refined, finished look.